What was it that Sarah said? I'm starting to think everything is connected. The secret society, the dredge, New York gold and silver, Old Joe Bush. I think it's all somehow linked together. But that's not all. It's not just some secret society, New York's gold and silver and Old Joe Bush. It's Sarah and me. And now with the new wilderness ranger, why did he ask Sarah if we saw anyone at the dredge? What does he know? Which is the same thing as asking, what don't we know? I have to try and get some sleep if I can. I have this very weird feeling that someone came into my room last night. I woke up, but it was too afraid to look around. Plus, it was dark. I couldn't shake the feeling, and then I started wondering if I deleted the history after I watched the last video. I reached under my pillow and felt for my journal. It was there. It didn't seem like it was moved. It's crazy how paranoid I am. I've been lying in bed for an hour staring at the picture my dad left me and replaying his warning in my mind. Old Joe Bush got pulled into those gears because he wasn't careful. You nearly died doing the same thing. Careless yourself. Don't let it happen again. After 61 minutes of contemplation, I've determined that what my father asked of me was stupid. Carelessness may not have been a virtue, but it's unavoidable, especially for someone of my age. And besides, super careful people are really boring. I know a girl at school who won't drink out of the water fountain. She won't eat food from the cafeteria. She has a note for gym class that allows her to sit out whenever we do something she feels is too dangerous. She barely has a pulse. Old Joe Bush doesn't look like the careless type. If I had to say what he looked like in the picture, I'd say, well, I guess I'd say he looked single-minded. Probably he was pushed. Foul play, that's what killed Old Joe Bush, not carelessness. It was really late when I watched Sarah's video last night. I dreamt about it, so when I woke up, I wasn't sure if I'd watched it at all. In my dream, Daryl Boner, the ranger, and Gladys, the librarian, were walking in the woods. Gladys had her shotgun, and then Old Joe Bush came out of the bushes dragging his leg and said, "Number 42, that's mine. Stay away from this place. I'm watching you." Gladys fired buckshot into the air, and Old Joe Bush tried to run away, dragging his leg down the path towards the dredge. Gladys laughed and laughed, but Daryl Boner went on ahead and helped Old Joe Bush step down into the black pond and disappear under the water. In my dream, the pond looked like a tar pit. The thing about dreams is that they sometimes mean something. I have dreams all the time, but I get feelings about certain dreams that make me think something important is hidden there. This was one of those dreams. The sticky goo of the tar pit hides things. I know it does. I don't think Gladys is important. I think she's just there because I never gone through a door or found someone pointing a shotgun at me. She's been appearing in a lot of my dreams since. She's like wallpaper. She's just there. But Ranger Boner, he's new. And he's helping Joe into the water or the tar. Why did I connect the two in my dream? My unconscious mind must see something in the video or the picture that my waking mind doesn't. An hour of looking at the picture my dad gave me isn't helping me see things clear. I'm going to risk watching Sarah's video again, but this time I'm going to keep this picture handy so I can look at it. It's almost 7:30, and my mom usually comes between 7:30 and 8. I better hurry. No sign of my mom yet. I've watched the video again. I scanned the picture of Old Joe Bush and sent it to Sarah. Dangerous move. If her parents open her email before she does, they'll suspect I've sent it. Even though I used an account that doesn't have my name on it and didn't say hardly anything. This is Old Joe Bush. Familiar? I didn't put my name at the end, just attached the photo and sent it. I think I know why Daryl Boner and Joe Bush are together in my dreams. It's because in real life they look sort of similar. The photo is grainy, but the bone structure, the nose, the forehead, they're similar. Too similar. What does it even mean? Mom has been here with my breakfast and gone. It was a miracle she didn't check my computer because I totally forgot to erase my tracks. It feels like every day I'm a whisper away from losing everything, including my best friend. I totally believe my parents when they say they'll sell the house and move us to the city if they catch me talking to Sarah. If they knew how much we were emailing, all the stuff we were doing, they'd pack up the car and have me out of here tonight. Like Dad said, I have to be careful. I can't be careless when it comes to my communicating with Sarah. There's too much at stake. I've got something weird I want to try, just to see what will happen. It's not the most careful thing in the world, but I can't stop thinking about it. Here's my plan. I'll call the ranger station. It's early, so Ranger Boner probably won't be on the trail yet. When he picks it up, I'll ask for Joe Bush and see what he says. I wonder what he'll do. What if he has caller ID? Do ranger stations have stuff like that? I'm risking it. If I get caught, I'll say it was a prank. I'll play up the fact that I'm crazy. I called Daryl Boner. Here's what happened. Him. Skeleton Creek Ranger Station. Me. Can I speak to Joe Bush? Him. Who is this? Why are you asking for Joe Bush? I didn't reply. Him. Did Sarah Fincher put you up to this? I didn't reply. Him. Answer me. Why are you asking about Joe Bush? I hung up. And now I wonder, why was he so freaked out? I have just entered the eventual hour of 5 minutes. About 2 minutes after I hung up, the phone rang. I tried to intercept the call myself, but I picked up the same moment my dad did. He was a notoriously quick grabber of the phone. He hates hearing it ring and ring. I thought he'd already be halfway out the door for work, but I guess he stayed late this morning. Just my luck. Dad, hello? Boner. This is Daryl Boner at the ranger station. Did you just call this number? Dad, I did not. My son might have. Boner, is this the home of the boy who had the accident at the dredge? Dad, it might be. Boner, I think he might be getting bored. He just called here. I don't know. I guess you'd call it a prank call. He asked for Joe Bush, whoever that is. And the girl involved in the accident, Sarah Fincher, she seems interested in the dredge as well. It might be a good time to keep an especially close eye on them both. The dredge isn't safe. At least that's what the state supervisor told me. No one should be going out there. Dad, I'll have a talk with my son. Boner, thank you. I hung up right after they did, then listened to my dad coming up the stairs and wondered if my actions qualified as more than careless. I had the feeling it did. Sarah interviewed ran through my head, and then my call. I felt stupid for having done it. There were dots that could be connected. Sarah, Boner, me. There was a flurry of activity. Maybe it was enough to get the house on the market. I've already had the fondness for Henry when the doorbell rang and my dad went back. Downstairs, I like Henry 10 times more. Our fall visitor had arrived, and I was spared my dad's wrath. His anger usually boiled over pretty fast. If I could stay out of his crosshairs, well, he calmed down. The consequences were always less severe, unless he showed up in my room with Henry in tow. I even had a glimmer of hope that my dad had forgotten all about the phone call. That's one heck of a cast. Those were the first words out of Henry's mouth when he came into my room with my dad. They were both smiling, and I breathed a sigh of relief. Henry went on, any chance I could have it once you're done? That thing could be a real hit with the card tables. They'll have to cut it off. I could only give you the pieces. I've got duct tape. It'll be perfect. Henry had a fishing hat on, rimmed with flies, and his rainbow suspenders. Your dad tells me he needs to run across town to see the ranger. Mind if I keep you company while it's gone? I'd like that. My dad asked for the picture of old Joe Bush, and I gave it to him. He looked at me as if to say, we're not quite through here yet. I'll be back. And then he left me and Henry alone in my room. So I so wish I'd never made that phone call. It feels like I've opened up a can of worms and they're spamming out all over the place. Henry chimed in when the sound of the front door closing reached my room. Can you get down those stairs, he asked. I think I can, but it always feels better in the afternoon. I think I'll wait a little bit. Fair enough. How bored are you? Very. I suspected. How long are you staying? 17 days of bliss. 2 poker nights, fishing on the river, and your mom's home cooking. I don't appreciate it now, but Cynthia is the queen of comfort food. All bachelors love comfort food, especially when we're from the city. She's making that baked noodle dish with the crunchy cheese on top tonight. I've been thinking about it for 3 days. You should get married, I joked. And give up Yankee games, dirty laundry, and 12 girlfriends? I don't think I'm ready for that kind of sacrifice. You don't have 12 girlfriends. Do so, liar. Well, I've had 12 girlfriends. It's the same thing. I bet all 12 are now married with kids and have long since forgotten the Yankee-loving slob they've dated years ago. You shouldn't talk like that with a cast on your leg. You won't be able to run away when I dump a bucket of cold water on your head. You're all talk. I'm making your lunch. Henry smiled and I knew he was in big trouble. I hated not knowing what disgusting thing he might add to the hot pocket or swirl into the peanut butter before spreading it around. He probably won't do anything, but I've never known for sure. It would drive me crazy. We talked about the accident and about how I couldn't see Sarah anymore, and the news about Sarah's brother bothered him when he said he would talk to my parents. He liked Sarah and I appreciated it, but I knew somehow deep down that didn't matter what Henry said. My parents had already made up their minds. I had no idea how many more times I'd have Henry to myself, so I decided it was time to begin my inquisition, especially since he was in such a friendly mood. Hey, I say, how come you never talk about when you used to work for New York Gold and Silver? It's not my best chapter. Why not? Henry took off his hat and laughed nervously. Then he smiled, went up, and I felt terrible for asking him. Since you're already busted up, I suppose I'll tell you. I made a lot of mistakes back then because I was young and ambitious. I could lie and say I didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew. Skeleton Creek got into my bones, though. It saved me. Did you ever meet Joe Bush? Henry looked at me a little curiously then, but still answered, why sure I did. Lots of times. He was a hard worker. You know he died in the dredge. I do. The accident was the beginning of the end. I quit not long after that. There were a lot of lawsuits flying around and they were asking me to do things I couldn't. Like what? You sure you're curious about what you're laid up? Like what, Henry? They wanted me to lie about things, and that's when I knew for sure I was doing something wrong all along. Did you ever hear of Joe Bush coming back? You mean like a ghost? I guess so. Let's just say there's stories floating around, none of them true, mind you, but ghost of Joe Bush, that's all hogwash. Can you ask one more thing? Sure I can. Have you ever heard of the crossbones? Now there's an interesting question. Really? Especially interesting for an outsider like me. Did you know members is only allowed if you can prove you were either born here or have a relative that was born here? No, I didn't know that. That's the truth, or at least I think it is. I'm pretty sure the crossbones came into existence back when the dredge was still working. Why do you say that? There was talk about a secret group forming. You hear things? What did they do? If I knew that, I'd be a member, but as I said, I'm from the outside. A New Yorker, no less. No matter how much I love this place or how many times I come back, I'll never know more than I do right now about the crossbones. which isn't much. I was afraid to ask one last question, but I asked it anyway. Is my dad a member? If I were a betting man, I'd put good money on it, but the truth is I have no idea. We talk about it a lot, but not about those kind of things. Then he left to unpack things, and I wrote it all down. I can't wait to tell Sarah, but how? It's riskier somehow when someone else is around. I don't think Henry would tell my parents if he caught me emailing, but I can't be sure. When Dad came back, his steam had gone out of his anger and he didn't say a lot about the call I made. He didn't give me back the picture of Joe Bush, and I didn't ask for it. I know you're bored, he said, but leave that poor man alone. He's new in town and he's got work to do, like the rest of us. Find something productive to do. Like the rest of us? I don't know what he's thinking about. My dad is on vacation for the next 2 weeks while my mom keeps working at the post office like she always does. Henry and my dad will sleep late, make pancakes, sew strong coffee, then fish and play cards. I keep wondering how my dad will feel if someone told him he couldn't see Henry ever again. I'm pretty sure he'd go down fighting. The two of them are downstairs going through the fly boxes, comparing gear, getting ready to go fishing on the river for the afternoon. Skeleton Creek drains into a bigger creek, and that bigger creek drains into a river where they'll search out the winter run steelhead, basically a giant trout, and place they're going is an hour outside of town. If my dad is driving, they'll pick up. He has the baby or they'll be there in half the time. When Dad and Henry get back, they'll throw together a late lunch and help me down to the porch where I can play cards before Mom gets home. What did my dad say to Ranger Boner? He might have even seen the ranger. Maybe he'd only said he was going to see the Ranger Boner and actually went to talk to Sarah's parents, or worse, the real estate agents. There could be a sign going up in our front yard already. I despise all real estate agents. They left here 15 minutes ago, and I drifted off to sleep. At first I thought there was a phone ringing in my dreams, but they kept ringing, and on the fourth ring I reached on my arm and fumbled for the cordless. I expected it to be my mom checking in on me. She always has a way of knowing when I'm home alone. She tells me to rest, eat, and stay off the internet. I click on the receiver and answer groggily, hoping she'd hear the fatigue in my voice and go easy on me with the lecture. When I answered, there was the faintest sound of, wait, what was it? Leaves moving in trees? Or it was water moving? I did a distinct but indifferent sound of nature. At least that's what I thought before whoever it was hung up on me. My first thought it was my dad calling from the stream to make sure I'm staying put. But why did he hang up? I looked at the caller ID and I didn't recognize the number. It was 406 area code, not local. I dialed the number and waited. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings, voicemail. This is Daryl Boner of the Montana Department of Fish and Wildlife. I'm currently stationed at Skeleton Creek, Oregon, returning to the Wind River Station on November 3rd. Please leave a message. Why is Ranger Boner calling my house and then hanging up? He was looking for my dad and got me instead. I shouldn't have called him and asked if old Joe Bush was there. What if he thinks I know something I'm not supposed to? I spent the last couple of hours scrolling the web for anything about Skeleton Creek, the dredge, old Joe Bush. I'm so frustrated. It's like I've dug up all these bones that I'm going to find, and they make up only about 1/10 of what I'm searching for. The deeper I go, the harder the ground feels. I feel like I've hit a layer of solid rock. I need to send a warning to Sarah, but I'm afraid to. What if my dad went to her parents and they've already taken her computer? I see them sitting at the kitchen table, hitting the refresh every 15 minutes, waiting for my email to come through. The death email, the email that sends me packing. I can't risk it. Obviously, Sarah doesn't feel as concerned as I do because I just got an email from her. I guess that puts the rest of my concerns about her parents confiscating her laptop. And this is entirely possible, they're baiting me. What if they sent the email? Or worse, what if my dad is on Sarah's laptop at her house with her parents sending me emails? It's an underhanded move, but it could happen. I'd like to think Henry would tip me off, but how could he? I'm hungry and tired, which sometimes makes me nervous. But seriously, I'm so paranoid, it's ridiculous. Maybe I need group therapy. Me, Sarah, and old Joe Bush. Actually, to be fair, what I got from Sarah wasn't really an email, if you consider there were no words in the message, only a string of letters and a subject line and nothing else. The message read, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now she's diverging from Poe into Stevenson. Fair enough, sometimes she thinks trying to tell me something in these passwords. Like in this case, she's saying that Daryl Boner is Dr. Jekyll and Ghost of Old Joe Bush is Mr. Hyde. Or is Daryl Boner both? Or is my dad both? I can't believe I just wrote that. I might as well be Jekyll and Hyde. I keep going back and forth. I have to get out of this house. My dad and Henry could come back early. I haven't covered the tracks of my last 2 hours of searching online. I haven't deleted Sarah's email or watched the video. There's a lot to do while I haven't the house to myself. I'm getting rid of everything first. Then, if I'm still safe, I'll watch the video.